and show you how to do this in real life by using the Git on your laptop. Hi, so I'm on my GitHub account. So this is my profile. Normally, you need to create an account, like I mentioned before, so that you can have access to Git and GitHub. My profile is not updated as much because generally now I'm not really that technical anymore. I just love talking about the technicalities. I love talking about the concepts. I can get technical when the need arises. So, but I haven't really updated my profile for a very long time. But before I move ahead, this is something a lot of people miss out when doing their creating a GitHub account. You need to have yourself, like really explain yourself. So you see, if I go to my GitHub account, the first thing you learn on my GitHub account, you see there is a project I've created with my name, the account I created. You can read this up. It actually explains who I am, some technical things about me, and technically this is just a CV of me that is live online. I don't need to submit. So let's say, for example, you see me on LinkedIn and you think I'm good for, let's say, a technical project. Rather than asking my CV on my LinkedIn profile, for example, I can say, if you need more about me, just click on my LinkedIn, right? So click on the link on my LinkedIn, and you bring you to this platform where you actually see most of the things I've done before. And the interesting part about this is, you see, I'm able below, I have a section for all my projects that I've done before. If I was to prove to an employer or recruiter that I'm good at doing certain things, they can definitely move to my GitHub profile, and they are able to see that I've done quite some good projects. And you can really organize it in such a way that it makes the life of a recruiter easy. So let's say, for example, someone is interested in checking out my visualization skills. I group the projects in terms of categories. So you can see, for example, I did a project, something around New York taxi. So it was just a personal project. I thought about it because I wanted to try my visualization skills. So when you click on that, it brings you to the New York taxi repository. Okay, this is the repository where all my codes are, and I'm going to show you how to create a repository, but for now I'm just exploring the platform for you. So you it comes to repository for that particular project. So clearly you see that someone, obviously they will see the folder structure and everything, but they're able to have something to know something about the project before they can dive in. So I kind of explain what the project's all about. I give them the project objective, then I explain the structure of the project. It's not a must that you have to follow the same outline, but I was just trying to. That was back in the days. I think it's more than 3 years now. You see data folder and everything. Now the most interesting part is the visualization I created for this project was an interactive visualization, and these guys cannot play around with it except they download my code and the data, and they do it. But already I show them some certain, at least an output of what the whole project is all about. So you see, this was the heat map in terms of when taxis are highly demanded in New York City. So you see normally between 8 a.m. and probably 6, this is when taxis are very busy in New York. You can clearly see because the map is heated. And maybe Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, these are also very Mondays, Saturdays and Sundays a little bit light. It's obvious, right? People don't go to work. So generally, this is the project that I did. So you can clearly see that if they really want to check me out, they can go into I think I explained to them how they can find out the data structure class raw file. I think this is where I did the implementation. So the code. So it was a notebook visual notebook. So you can clearly see, they can check it out. Oh, this guy knows how to import things, how to read the file, how to play around data manipulation, how to define a function, okay, how to write if and else statements, play around with dictionaries, with for loops. So you see, I don't need to tell them. They can actually see for themselves that I know how to program in Python or in R or whatever. So this is something you need to have for yourself as well, where it is online. You, for example, if you're interested in me, you can go online and check these things out. But if you never had this thing online, then they will be asking you to send your CV and maybe send you a project to test test your skills. But if these stuffs are already online, it's a good way for someone to check you out. So that is it. So let's assume that you want to start a new project. So you come to your profile. So you see this is my profile, and maybe I'll just also want to talk about something we do have. Like Graffiland has a whole. We have our own projects that we do internally. So you see overview. These are the repositories that we have. We are working on other projects as well, things that we're doing behind the scene. Some of the repositories are free, you can go online, but some of them are private. So I spoke about, you see, for example, MFlow is an example of a private repository. Practical Python is a public one. This is also public. So if you search for Graphiland on GitHub, you'll be able to access the public repositories. Now, so you can decide to create a new repository, right? So if I click on new repository, let's say I want to start a new project. Maybe I do it on my personal profile. So let me go to my profile. Repositories, I have that. You see, you have new. So this is how you're going to see it, because the organizational view is different from the personal view. So you just click on, you want to start a new project, new. So you have to name the project. Okay, you name the project. When you name the project, you say if you want it to be public or private, you do that. And very, very, very important, you need to add a README file. So you add a README file. So this, I explained that the README file is where you actually explain everything that it's good to always explain your projects. You cannot just let your projects be blank. Always explain your projects using the README file. So that's it. And when you're ready, you just click on create. So you have a project. Obviously, you'll be empty, right? There'll be nothing inside. But maybe I'm going to use an example. Let me see your repositories. I'm going to use an example of one of the projects I did. Let's say the New York taxi, the one I just opened. Now, when you do this, you see that when you create a project, you just have one project online. So you have ideally one branch, excuse me. So you have the main branch. I spoke about the branch, which is the main one, which is always the default. And the fact that I was working, I was just trying also. Sometimes you need to create these branches so that someone landing on your profile will understand that you're not using GitHub only for documentation purpose. You also know what you're doing. So I created branches. The thing is that if you look at the branches, they might even have, okay, this is a good example. The Ivor Me branch, technically that is not the IT way to, you can name a branch with your name, or you name the branch based on what you're doing. So you see that the branch is not well updated. So you see in this branch, I don't have the description of the project. But if I go back to the main branch, or maybe let me see what is on the test branch, you see the test branch has documentation. So that is an example where people can be working on separate branches and they do have different information. So that is what you need to know. Say, another thing you can do, this is a README file. You can still update the README file online. So let's say I'm working on the test branch. I own the test branch. I can decide to come and I update a certain file. So now you can even update the README file. There are some basic things you need to know when you're doing a README file. For example, if I need to do a caption, I need to start with a pound and a number sign. I need to do a smaller caption. These are basic things you can go online. How to insert figures. These are things you can research and you get them. How to insert a link. So this is my README file. When you do the changes, I mentioned that you can commit the changes. Now, ideally, this is not what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to have this local. So normally, you're supposed to be doing these things local. So you can still do it online on the remote branch. Remember, these branches that you have right now, they are the remote branches. But what if you want to do this on your local branch? So I'm going to switch to this guy. So this is Visual Studio is an IDE. That's another topic for another day. An IDE is integrated development IDE enterprise no environment, integrated development environment. So there are several types. You have Visual Studio, you have PyCharm. So if you're dealing with technical folks, they'll always say, I'm using Visual Studio, I'm using PyCharm. Just understand that these are platforms where they use to develop. You can write your R code, you can write your Python code, you can write any type of code using these platforms. I mentioned that you need to have Git installed, right? So how do you know Git has been installed on your local laptop? So I'm using a Mac laptop, so you can obviously go to your terminal, and when you open the terminal, so just go and type terminal. You need to check if you have Git installed. So I just do Git version. It tells me yes. I have Git version 2.39.2 installed on my laptop. So if you don't have Git installed on your laptop, obviously you need to install one, right? So you can go online. So if you go to this is the Git. So depending on your Windows system, you're using a Mac OS or Windows or Linux, you can download the version that corresponds to your operating system. So you need to really install and to make sure that you have those things locally, so that you can do the versioning of your codes. Now, so currently I have this. So let's say I have this project online, right? So this project is found online, and I want to have it local. So for me to have it local, remember the term I used was the clone, right? So you need to clone this using you need to clone this on your local machine. So if I need to clone this on my local machine, this is what normally I'm supposed to, maybe to not to go too technical. Sorry, I keep switching from one thing to another. So you can start with the file explorer. You open a folder. So let's say I want to do this in my documents. Okay, I'm going to create a full folder called test git test git. So this is what um yes, I trust this. So now I have a folder with my with a, just it's just a folder, nothing is there, right? So the nice thing about Visual Studio Code is it starts by already thinking of what are the possibilities that you want to do. Do you want to create a new file? Do you want to open something, or do you want to clone a Git repository? Remember, my repository is online, so I want to say I want to clone it. Where do you want to clone from? I hope you're seeing, but top of my screen you see clone from GitHub. The fact that I've already signed into my GitHub account before, it is easy for this thing to go online and search for my stuffs. So you see, these are the projects that are linked to my GitHub account. So maybe let me see if I can see taxi if you can. Yeah, so that is a New York taxi, right? Oh, wait, okay, this is it. Ivan B New York taxi. So now it's asking me, where do I want to clone that remote repository on my local on my laptop. So remember, I use this and I said test git. So I want it to be cloned in that folder. So I say select that as my destination. If you see bottom left of my screen, it's there. And I was asking me, do you want to open? Yes, I want to open. These are things you need to know. So now you clearly see that I have everything that was online. I have them locally on my machine right now. So this is the README file that you saw online. I think I can switch to preview mode. Let me see, preview, open preview. So this is what you saw online. So this is the code version of it, and when you do changes, you see the version online. Now, for the technical folks, you can still decide not to use this platform and really go to your terminal and do it, and you can do all those things from there. But the Visual Studio Code has made your life easy. So you clearly see there's a whole section about source control. So it's like where you do the versioning. And so you clearly see I can actually do a lot of stuff. So I can view source control. I can see you can do the push. We mentioned push. We mentioned push. We have cloned already. We checked out fetch. Commit. You want to commit your changes. You want to push or pull. These are the branches. You can actually see branches that are local, or these are things you can do remote. You can see. So this is not me. There are a lot of resources online which you can actually learn about Git and GitHub. But if I want you to look bottom left of my screen, so you see that currently I'm on the main branch. Okay. Normally, you need to understand that when you clone a repository, it automatically goes to the main branch. So I can decide to create a branch, or remember I mentioned about remote branches. So whenever you see origin, it means those are the branches that are found online. So I can decide to create a branch locally on my machine so that those branches are local. When I do changes, they remain local. And when I'm ready, then I can merge those changes to the main branch. You clearly see that these are remote branches. So these three are the remote ones. I don't have any local branch. So let's assume that I want to create a branch. So you can actually create a new branch from So let's create a new branch from the test branch. So what's the branch name? I'll say test local so you don't get confused. Test local, and I clone it. So now what is happening is I now have a local branch. So this branch is local. As of this moment, the local branch and the one on the remote branch, they have the same changes. They have the same structure. Nothing has changed. So maybe now let's say I do a change. Currently, let's say I do, let me just say conclusion. I had a conclusion before. I just add something conclusion. Yeah. Then I'm going to save it. As soon as I save it, you clearly see that I have an indication on the source control which says that I have one painting change, right? So now this thing is still local to my machine. No one has seen it, and even though I've saved it, so I actually click Control Save. You guys could not see that, but I did the Control Save. So what you need to do is when you commit, the commit stays to your local machine. It's not yet online. But before you commit, it's always good to give a description. What are you committing? So that if someone is looking at your codes, they can say the reason why you committed this was because I added a conclusion paragraph. Added a conclusion paragraph. Right? So now if you look at the options, I can commit and push at the same time. I can commit and sync. Commit and push means just you commit, so you save it, you create the version locally and you push it to your remote branch. Or you can decide to just commit and sync. So it commits, push, and pull at the same time. I can decide just to commit. Let's commit and push. There's blah blah blah. It gives me the one and I take yes. Branch local has no, say you see the branch test has no local remote branch. Would you like to publish this branch? Okay, I want to publish it. Okay, so now my changes has been versioned in my locally, and also it has been pushed online. So let's go back online. If you go back to the platform, GitHub platform, you see GitHub platform already identifies that there has been a new test local has a recent pushes 2 seconds ago. I can clearly see that that it is written there, right? So you see, so I can compare, and I remember if I say the if I say the changes are good enough for me to merge in the main branch, I can compare and pull the request. So when you compare and pull the request, it's going to ask you to really create a pull request. Remember, I mentioned pull request is me now trying to merge. You clearly see here is merging, able to merge test local to the main branch. So what are you doing at the test? So maybe it's good to really give a description so that you can assign someone adding conclusion to the project. And you need to add a reviewer, okay? But the fact that I'm working alone, technically I might not have someone to review it, but I'm just going to explain. So you can add a reviewer, you can assign it to yourself that you own this, or you can assign it to someone else. So there are other things you can do, but as of now, since I'm alone, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to create a pull request. So I create a pull request. So GitHub would normally run the checks. If normally I assign to myself, right? So normally I will create and say, okay, how can I merge? So before you merge, you need to first of all technically review it. So you can see, go to pull request. There are two of them. There's one I opened, but I didn't. So normally this is how you review. You come, you see, okay, this is what is happening. You go to file change. So they will show you the changes that has been done. So there's technically the only thing that really changed was the README file. So maybe I really focus on the README file. So related projects, blah blah blah. So you see, it's showing that this plus sign is just the thing I've added now. And if I agree that yeah, I've viewed it, then I say review change. I can give my comments and I say changes are good. Then you can say go to match. Yeah. So that is it. Submit. You can yeah, I can submit. So comments, I can approve, commit, comment, yeah, submit, review. Yeah, then you can merge, confirm the merge, blah. And when that happens, if I go now to the main branch, I should be able now. You see, I'm now in the main branch, and now we have four branches. You see below we have another paragraph called conclusion. So, guys, technically, that is what you should be doing. You should be able to create your projects online. If you are working alone, then you don't need to do all of these complications. But if you are working with someone, I also explained that when you're doing projects, vary the projects. You can work independently, or you work with some other guys, so that you can actually play around with the whole Git and GitHub, so that when someone visits your platform, they can actually go and see what you have been doing, see how you're playing with the GitHub and all those things. So basically, that was that. Just to conclude, so to conclude, Git and GitHub is very important. You need to understand when to use it. By now, you should also know some of the basic concepts you need to know. Also, research online. There are a lot of tutorials online about Git and GitHub and how to use it. Use GitHub to build your technical portfolio. So you need to learn how to really know how to use the README file, and build some projects. Go online, do some projects. It doesn't matter how you start. Just keep building those projects. Keep building them. Sometimes recruiters or employers want to see, are you making progress? Your first project obviously will not be the best, but you keep learning from those projects. So the more projects you do, the more you build a very good technical portfolio. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comment section. And also, if you really love this video or the tutorial, really just like, comment, and share the video so that others can benefit from it. Thank you, and see you next time.